Hey there, this is Nina Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Thank you so much for being here. This show is created to discuss life topics to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. And as you know, I like to go around the planet to find some amazing human beings to bring on here to discuss how we can transform our thinking. And today I found on the other side of the world, Bruna de Palo, and she is an ICF certified executive, a leadership and career coach who helps senior executives activate their sense of aliveness and becoming authentic leaders by unleashing the power of their greatest asset, which is their brain. And as you guys know, I am an NLP practitioner and I love neural stuff. So this is going to get fun, Bruna. How are you today?
Very well. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really glad you're here. I like to start the show off literally just by you introducing yourself a little bit more. So I give a little bio, but who is Bruna?
Thank you so much. That's my favorite topic, actually.
That's awesome.
So, I'm Bruna, as you can guess from my name. I'm Italian. I live in London. I've been living in London for 9 years, and I'm from what is known to be the most beautiful city in the world. I'm from Rome. And yes, I am a certified coach. There are millions of coaches in the world, but what really differentiates me from all the others is this approach, which I call neuroscience-based. And what that means is that the way I help people think and act differently is by understanding how their brain works. Mm-hmm. So in my approach, not only I help them through coaching, shift their mindset and achieve certain goals, but I also teach them how it all works. Because at the end of the day, we've been told many times that this is super powerful, but no one gave us the instructions. Right. So neuroscience translated into actionable strategies and practical language can be a kind of instructions, and that's what I give my clients. So when they are empowered by understanding how they function, everything becomes much easier and they're much more in control of their lives.
That's wonderful.
So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, that's wonderful, right? I love it too. I have gotten into self-development maybe in the last, 5 years or so, and went to take courses on neuro-linguistic programming and stuff. And I fell in love with the brain, the neuroscience of it all. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful field to get into. And you're right. When you start to get into that, you really can transform people's lives. It's powerful, isn't it?
It is, Nina, because at the end of the day, everything that we do, every behavior, or even simply the fact that we're often stuck in certain situations, it all comes from the use that we make of our brain. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what I notice with my clients is that sometimes they're stuck in very unpleasant situation, either in an unfulfilling career or maybe with their boss or in their relationship. And they think that's me. It's because I'm not confident, or I am not assertive enough, or I am not. That's not true. Very often that I am not means I am not making the best use of that. Right. So when they understand that the reason why they're stuck is because perhaps they produce a certain amount of cortisol that creates a certain imbalance and doesn't allow them to see things clearly, they stop thinking that they are not good enough, and they start applying techniques, either NLP techniques or many others, that will make them see things clearly so that they can take proper action. So it is very practical. At the end of the day, it is about, as I say, providing instructions which naturally make them feel more confident, because our especially as women, but of course not only, our natural tendency is, it's me, I'm not good enough, maybe you are not good enough, but not as a person, simply as a human being who's not good enough at making the best use of their brain. Right. That's more realistic.
I love that. And that is more realistic. And it's fantastic. When I learned that changed a lot of aspects of my life too, because it broke a lot of limiting beliefs. And that's a very powerful thing to have. And we have a lot of those, don't we, Bruna? Like, we are more geared towards the I can't statements than we are towards I can do anything, right? We're just like wired that way. So, and it's the brain, right? Protecting us from things that we're afraid of, changes, things that we have already put in our brain that is making a pattern, a certain pattern. So I want to know a little bit more about Bruna, and why did you even get into this? How did you get into doing coaching, and why get into the brain? What caused all of that in your life?
Okay, that's my second favorite question. So thank you for asking, because the neuroscience approach hasn't been immediate, hasn't come immediately. Right. So to keep it short, what happened is I've been stuck for a very, very long time, like nearly 20 years in the wrong career. And that was really draining. And I know this is a very, very common problem, which now finally with COVID has, come to the surface. And a lot of people are, hiring coaches to help them change career. Right. But at that time I was in Rome. I didn't know coaches existed. And, when you're in a country like ours, which of course is stunning, but it's a little bit behind in terms of personal development, when you have a job and when you have a steady salary, it's already good enough. So right. Thinking about changing career is not an option. You're lucky if you have a job, and that's the common belief that then became my belief. Right. So that's the reason why I moved to London, to break free from that mentality, which was keeping me stuck. And I thought that just, by going in a much more open-minded country, I could immediately be more open-minded myself. And guess what? It didn't happen.
Right. Right.
So it's been a long journey, a long, and with lots of mistakes that I made because I didn't change my mindset. Those limiting beliefs, I took them with me. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I didn't know how to use the brain. I didn't know any of the things that I know now. But anyway, to cut the story short, at one point, I realized that these things like coaching existed. And when I discovered it, I said, wow, that's me. I had no idea what else I could do or what I was good at. But when I realized that this thing existed, I really felt it. Right. So I moved into coaching. Hasn't been easy because, of course, you come from a history of employment. It's a completely different mindset, having your own business. So leave aside the mistakes that I made. Suddenly, I had to find my niche as a coach. And I said, yeah, but what should I help people with? And then it hit me that the choice of what kind of people you could help best, it's not a decision that you make. You sit on the table to take pen and paper, and then you try to understand what you could do. It's not about that. It is about who you are. The right career for you, what I understood in my journey, is it's about who you are. Now, who I am is a person. I am a person who suffered from so many years being stuck in an unfulfilling career. And if I look at this from now, I can see that there was a gift in there. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Of course, I didn't see it that way at that time. But in that journey, with all those mistakes and ups and downs, I've learned so much. It's actually part of who I am. Everything that I understood about human behavior in that process, it's a gift. So I would say that in these, I've turned my poison into medicine, and I wanted to use this medicine to heal others as well. So the niche became very clear. Career coaching, and particularly helping people figure out what they're supposed to do and then transit to that career, avoiding all the mistakes I've made. So the process started in this way. So I'm still doing career coaching and I'm loving it. But throughout the process, I realized that there were so many other career coaches out there. And I really felt the need from a business and from a personal perspective to differentiate myself. And then I said, well, how can I differentiate myself? Okay, pen and paper, sit down, but nothing was really coming out. Then it hit me again. The right path for me is the one where I can bring who I am into what I do. So what is that makes me me? What is that comes really natural to me, that is a gift of mine that people tend to recognize? And that is my passion in studying how the brain works and the ability to turn those complex concepts into actionable strategy. People were complimenting me about this. And then I say, again, this is me, it comes natural to me. So maybe that's why I'm so passionate about it. And so that's how it came to the surface, that I could have pushed on these. And that naturally became a differentiator with all the other coaches.
Right. So, isn't that wonderful? And that's a wonderful tool to have, because it's something that a lot of people are not touching on, and it's important. The brain is just a beautiful computer, isn't it? It's just unbelievable how I've learned so much myself, and I'm still learning, and you'll always learn. I mean, that's the whole point. You're always going to be learning. But what was that aha moment for you? Because 20 years in a career is a long time, right? So you
It's
could
too
have,
much.
right, and you're so young, so you could have just stayed in that career and just finished it out or whatever. So what was it that you were just one day like, okay, I got to do something? Because that's a big move. You didn't just stop a 20-year career that you were in. You also got up and moved. Like, you did a complete 180 year. What was that? What do you remember that time or that moment?
Of course.
Yeah, what
That
was
tells
it?
you how fed up I was. I was really fed up. I
Right.
tell you, Nina, what was making me feel so bad, because at the end of the day, I had a salary. It wasn't a big salary, but I had nice colleagues, kind of a steady contract, good position. I don't know. It's irrelevant to me because I didn't like it anyway. I was paying my mortgage. Everything was sort of fine. But I realized something big was missing, and that was the sense of aliveness. I didn't feel alive. And I am full of energy, as you might tell.
Yeah.
But in the office, even though I was surrounded by lovely people, I felt my energy was drained. And I couldn't stand it anymore. So daily, I had this strong feeling that life could be more, could give me more, I could give more, it should be more.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know how to do it.
Right.
And what? And I had literally no idea what my gifts were, or even if I was supposed to change career. So I remember this feeling was huge, but at the same time, it was obscured by the huge question mark. Okay, yeah, but what's the alternative? Because that's my CV. Whatever I want to do, my CV will keep saying that I just did IT. I was in tech for all my life. And tech is something that I don't want to do anymore. So wherever I go, my CV is unpresentable. There's no way that someone will give me an opportunity. So that's where I was stuck. And then I've learned that that's exactly where millions of other people are stuck.
Right.
So what happened is, I'll tell you something that is interesting here. There's a lot of talking about passion. Find a job that you're passionate about, and it sounds like you've never worked one day in your life. I think this is misleading. It certainly misled me, because the only way I survived in these 20 years is because after many years, I realized I had a huge passion, I didn't know, about history, contemporary history. So I started studying purely for my passion. So I studied for 7 years, and I graduated in 2012. And instead of being happy when I graduated, I felt like the only really important thing in my life during the day that was keeping me alive was being removed. So I was working and studying, but studying somehow justified the unfulfilling work, because this was paying for this. But if you remove this, boom,
Yeah.
there was nothing else.
Right.
So at one point I said, okay, I didn't study to find a job in history, because in Italy it's way more complicated than anywhere else to find that kind of job. So it wasn't a project in that sense. But then I said, everyone says that you should find a job that you're passionate about. Let me go for history. I am so passionate. I've been so good at this. So when I moved to London, I promised myself to never work in IT anymore. But the main purpose was to find myself, but with a clear direction that was in history. So I found a job, which again was in IT, but that's kind of obvious. I didn't know the language. I didn't know anything. So I had to start somewhere. And then I paid for my master. And I was so excited, so happy. I was dreaming about this completely different life, surrounded by books, by historians. But Nina, it didn't really work. The more I was investing time, going to conferences and contact, it wasn't really working. And that was a shock, because I said, oh, come on, this is the only thing I'm really passionate about. If it's not this, then what's wrong with me? I really thought that I was wrong, severely wrong.
Right.
So, it was really disappointing. And one day I had a conversation with with a lecturer in history. We became friends. And she said something that in that moment I didn't like. She said, yeah, Bruna, but can I tell you something about this whole situation? I really don't think history is for you.
And you're like, excuse me?
I mean, I'm Italian. I can bite.
Right.
I was shocked, and I didn't like it. but she said something, Nina, that really made me think, and that's been the huge aha moment you mentioned before. She said, I don't think it's for you because you're too energetic. I can't see you stuck in an archive all day, every day. And I was, but I did it and I loved it. Yeah, you did it, but you did it while you had a different life. Every day, I don't see you there. Now, I hated it, but it made an impression here. And that's been my aha moment, because that's the moment where I realized that the right career for you is not the one that you're passionate about. It's the one where you can bring who you are into what you do.
That's good.
So that was a huge moment.
Yeah.
So I realized that my energy, it's an asset, but I never saw it that way. So the right career for me is one where my energy is honored and exploited, not hidden, hide.
Yeah. Hidden.
I don't know what.
Yep.
Not hidden.
Yeah.
So that made a huge difference. And that's the moment where my brain, because I elaborated this concept, started being more open to what people were saying. And many people were saying, oh, you're such a great speaker. You articulate things so well. And mind you, my English wasn't that good. But everyone had to say something about my gifts that were personal characteristics. But I never saw personal characteristics as asset for a career. I mean, the fact that I'm fun, energetic, and empathic.
So true. Wow. It's good.
Yeah, but this is who I am.
Right.
But in my career today, who I am is a huge part of my success, of what I do. So that's the moment where I realized, wow, we got it all wrong. That's how we should choose our career, is based on what we bring into the world. And not just my gifts, but even my ideas, my vision, my values. The big sorrow that I had to go through when in my private life and when I was stuck in my career, even that, to a certain perspective, is a gift, because nobody better than me understand people who are stuck in their career. So everything can be turned into a gift and can be utilized.
Oh, yeah.
So the problem is, are we aware of what we bring into the world? Do we know what having a gift means and what are our gifts, and that all these can be turned into an asset in a specific career? So that was the huge aha moment. It made a whole difference. And then I started listening when people complimented me about certain things. Then I connected the dots. And suddenly, because my brain knew what to look for, because until this realization, my brain was just looking for the right career, generic.
Right.
It's too generic. But if I say to my brain, I need to find something that exploits who I am, because when I express who I am, I feel alive, then my brain knows what to look for. So when they started telling me, oh, you're gifted at this, oh, you're such a great person at this or that, then I connected all the dots. And when the opportunity of coaching, because I think I saw it somewhere or someone told me so, my mindset was open to that, and I connected it, and I say, wow.
Yeah.
That's the whole story.
Yeah. And isn't that a phenomenal feeling? You've touched on a really a lot of important things just in your story there, because I think most of us operate in that way, right? Where we're studying for that passion or that thing that we think we're passionate about. And we might not even have our real giftings in that place. We're just really passionate about it. And I love that you went through that transition that you went through, and you went all the way. I mean, you went for your master's, for goodness sakes, in it, right? So you were really trying to get this thing done because you were so passionate about it. And it was really insightful, right? For your colleague to look at you and say, this is not for you. That was very insightful. And I love that she said that to you straight up. You know what I mean? She could have completely just been like, okay, that's what you want to do, even though she doesn't see it that way, right? But it takes some exploring for yourself as well, right? Because sometimes people will come and tell you they see something in you that you actually don't see in yourself.
Exactly.
Both ways, right? It could be good, where you can actually start exploring that, or it could be bad, where it actually is your gifting and somebody's just, putting that part of you down that makes you confused now on what you want to do in life. Because I think when we grow up, sometimes if you have a hard life, Sometimes people not supporting you, not being there for you, not lifting you up can pull you away from doing what it is you are born to do. Because I feel like a lot of us are born to do these things. And I think that we're born to do a lot of things, not just one thing. Like, right? I think that you were capable of doing the IT work, capable of doing the historian, capable of doing your coaching, right? And I love that you said we can use all of that to wrap up the gift, to like do what it is that we want to do. That's really powerful. And when you give someone permission, you're giving your people, your clients permission to be themselves, right? To actually bring who they are to the table and not hiding who they are. That's a beautiful gift.
It is. And this is the core of what I do in my job. And it makes me so sad to see that none of the people I've met so far think in that way. They immediately recognize the beauty of this mind shift. But like me, they're all stuck into, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what's available in the job market. It's like the problem is generalized because we haven't been raised in discovering our gifts, recognizing, being comfortable in talking about them and selling them. So there's a beautiful book, I think it's American, David Brooks. Don't know if you ever heard of the book, The Second Mountain. Mm-mm. The Second Mountain, it's a beautiful book that talks about the fact that people, exactly, as I was a while ago, tend to climb the first mountain. They go to school, we go to school, we teenager, what we want as teenager the most is to fit. We want to be rebel because we want to be different, but at the end of the day, what we want is desperately to fit. And to fit, you start detaching yourself from who you really are to become what you're supposed to do to fit into that society. So what happens is that we start climbing our first mountain, which is generally, get good grades at school, find a good partner, find a good job, get married, buy a house, have a baby, and that's what the majority of the people do. But the problem in this is that if you don't do it consciously, and you might not know what consciously means at that time, you're just climbing a mountain. And then as it happened to me and millions of others, you look back at one point and you say, yeah, I arrived here, I did everything I was supposed to do, but where am I? Who am I?
Right.
That's the moment where people start realizing, as I did, yeah, but life should be more. Even though I don't know how, I don't know what, it should be more. So what is important for those who are climbing at the end of the first mountain is to take the time, either with a coach or with a wise friends or through books or online courses, to take the time to truly understand who you are, because at that time, you've lost contact with your real self.
Yeah.
So that when you climb the second mountain, and the book is about this, when you climb the second mountain, it's still hard, there's still a lot of work to do, but you do it consciously, which means you have an extra fuel because you want it and you know where you're going. You start slowing down and choosing. It's not easy, certainly it's not automatic, but it's incredibly important, because when I talk about aliveness, and aliveness is the result of consciousness, I'm not just talking about a nice thing to have. I'm actually talking about something that is more important than that, which is health. So aliveness means health. When, like me, you are detached for so long, 8-9 hours per day for so many years, you detach yourself from who you really are, so you don't feel alive. And unless you are super energetic like me, the risk to end up in a depression is very, very high. So unfulfillment is the straight route to depression. So if someone here listening to us is feeling unfulfilled, what I would like to say is it doesn't have to be this way. Of course, there are other routes that you may want to explore, but don't think that it's just selfish or a nice thing to have, because fulfillment means health. If you don't do it, that's truly selfish, because the people around you might suffer from that unavoidable negativity that you bring into the world by you not being you. And this can lead to very horrible things, including stress. And therefore, it's not a luxury. It's a fulfillment, and aliveness is a must. Especially in a world where, there are so many new, unpredictable jobs We don't even know all of them. Not even I, being a career coach, I know a lot of things, but I cannot know all of them, because between blogging and online shopping and working from home, there are so many opportunities. There's no excuse. There's really no excuse. So aliveness, it's a must, and we need to go for that.
Yeah, and you're right. And I think that COVID showed a lot of us who are paying attention that mental health is a huge issue, right? Mental health has been a huge issue. And I think it's because of what you're saying. When you don't have fulfillment, you have, you can go into that state of depression and anxiety and worry and anger and all of that, place where you don't even know why you're even feeling that way. You just are. And a lot of it is fear too, right? Fear-based, right? It's very scary to do what you did, Bruna. It's scary to look at your life and go, something has to give here. Life needs to be more. It's scary to look at that, assess that, and then to do something about it is even more scary to people. Right. So it's with the work that you're doing with your clients. I mean, that's life transformative. That's not just one, let me help you with your goal for this week. I mean, what you're doing is literally saying, look at your life. We need you to have aliveness in your life because you need health, because you need a steady mind, because you need fulfillment, because you get to choose this. Life doesn't just have to happen to you. You get to choose it. Right. And I love that. So tell me a little bit about what it is you do with your client. Like, do you put them through a program or something, or how do you help your client like assess where they are to where they want to be or think they want to be?
Okay, so it depends where they are starting their journey. The majority of my clients come to me because they feel life should be more, but I have no idea what else they could do.
Mm-hmm.
And they are scared in making any steps. Firstly, because they are blocked by the problem of the CV, as I said. This is the number one block, which is objective. It's not just a mental block, it's objective. What they don't know is there are alternative ways, and these, of course, cannot be your usual CV. So the majority come because they want to change their career, but they have no idea what else they could do. And they have no idea how to think about the future. As soon as they do it, they get stressed out. And here's why. And that's how this connects with the neuroscience approach. The reason they get scared, again, it's not because they don't know what they want to do. Deep down, they know. Is that they've lost the connection with who they were. But the problem is the brain, to function well, and when I say function well, means having the right balance of neurotransmitters that allow clear thinking and therefore seeing opportunities in the world. This can only be done when you feel alive, when you are in an internal positive state. So the brain, to feel well, has to have certainty. Now, certainty is one of the key things that the brain needs to work well. When there is no certainty, and, with the pandemic, is gone. And that's why a lot of people did some crazy things. When there's no certainty, the brain gets stressed out, which means starts producing cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And when cortisol is there, you cannot think or learn straight. Again, it's not you, it's your brain. That's the first separation we have to make. The second thing is, of course, the brain doesn't work well. As I did, by questioning my job, I basically shaped the foundations of my life. My mortgage, my flat, my life, my identification with that job. I don't like it, but that's who I was, in my opinion. So when I shaped those foundations, I started producing cortisol because you are removing some certainty and safety, especially financial, for a huge question mark. Now, your brain, my brain, everyone else's brain doesn't like this huge question mark. So if you do this and you replace it with this, it's not going to work. So you need to have your brain on board. So how do we solve this problem? Firstly, we create a strong vision, but I'm not talking about dreaming or just visualizing. It has to be really concrete. So even though you don't know what you're going to do, so you cannot visualize yourself being a coach or a consultant or whatever, because you still don't know, you have to give your brain certain elements so that this question mark starts taking a more concrete shape. And generally, a coach is what bridges the gap in this process. So the question mark has to be replaced with a strategy, some tactics, some elements. So even though we don't know what, at least we shake the foundation, but we have something concrete. So this is where they normally start. But sometimes clients come that they know what they want to do. For example, they want to be a freelancer consultant or start their own business or whatever. And so I take them from that moment on. So we skip the side of discovering yourself and the gifts that you bring into the world.
Right.
But generally, I would say it's a package of 9 sessions where we start from discovering yourself. So it's a framework based on 4 steps. First one is discovering who you are and what you bring into the world. The second one is about overcoming fears and limiting beliefs.
That's wonderful.
Because no matter how conscious you are, if you feel fear and you don't know how to handle it, there's no way that you're going to take the step to go to the third stage, which is the matching. That is, okay, now I know who I am. Let me find a career where I can express all that. So that's the third stage.
That's good.
And the fourth one, of course, is the more transactional. Is very much about building your personal brand, doing a proper CV, any project that can help you land into that career. So I would say the majority of the clients go through these 4 stages of my framework. Some skip the first part because they already know, but they have a lot of fear and they have no strategy to get where they want to go. So I help them at that stage. Or in case of leadership, I do a completely different job.
Right.
But since we're talking about career change, that's the most common. And now I'm creating actually, if I may, I'm writing a book.
Oh, fantastic.
Because coaching can be expensive. Of course, it's very rewarding, and that's why it's expensive. It's about the value that a coach can bring into your life. But let's be honest, not everyone can afford it, especially those who have lost their job due to the pandemic. So I am a little bit of a pressure because I wanted to get it out in January because I think it's really needed now. So it will be a book that talks about this mind shift and how we should think about our career, and then step by step how to do it. So I'm creating this book and a group coaching program and an online course to give different price points based on different learning preferences and budget so that everyone can afford this. Why? Because, Nina, this is the only way we can make the world a better place. I can promise you, if we were all fulfilled, there wouldn't be so much of this negativity and addiction to power, money, and so on. At the end of the day, if we want to make the world a better place, we need to ensure, that as many people as possible are fulfilled.
Right.
Whatever fulfillment means for them. So,
that's fantastic.
Busy time.
Yeah, but that's wonderful. And writing a book is a very powerful tool. So that's fantastic. Good. Do you have a title of it yet or not yet?
Yeah, I think it's going to be called very clearly How to Change Your Career, Step-by-Step Guide to Identify and Transit to a Career That Makes You Feel Alive.
Oh, good.
That's what I'm thinking.
Right to the point.
Sorry?
Right to the point.
Yeah. So, boom, straight. Let's see if that will be the final title. But ideally, by mid-January, it should be out.
Good. I hope you keep us posted on that because that's awesome.
I will.
This conversation was fantastic. And you are definitely, I can tell you are a pro at what you do. So, kudos to you and taking charge of your life like that and transitioning. And that's what I wanted our listeners to hear is that you don't have to stay stuck. You just don't have to stay stuck. And just because you've either studied something and now you feel like, oh, but I've invested so much money in X, or, and I've had friends like that who are become like doctor or have gotten their doctorates and everything, and now they feel stuck in their doctor career because that's what they spent their life's money on. But you don't have to do that. You don't. And you only have one life. Don't do that to yourself where you feel like you have to stay stuck in this career or this path that you're on just because you started it. That's not the case. And I love that what you said, Bruna, is it's really, we are all so uniquely built and so different that if we did bring just ourselves to the table, we'd be very surprised at how amazing that experience would be. It's kind of sad that a lot of us hide behind our career or, or our choices that we made before, you know, and when we all grow and stretch and change daily sometimes, you know, so good work for you. I really love what you're doing. So before I let you go, I want you to tell my audience, you know, where they can find you, where they can, you know, locate you, your website, whatever you want to share, please.
Thank you so much, Nina. It's been a great time indeed. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So yes, I'd love to hear from your from your audience. They can find me on my website, which is www.brunadepalo.com. I offer a taster session because it's incredibly important if people want to work with me that we have the same mindset and chemistry, so they can contact me for book a taster session, but they can also benefit of my guided journal. They can join my newsletter where I share brain-based facts and tools and techniques to improve their career, and they can download this guided journal which helps them increase their awareness, because awareness is the number one skill that we have to develop whatever change we want to make in our lives. So the guided journal has some specific insightful questions that keep them on track to avoid that people do a report of the day or a diary, which is not very helpful. But answering to the right question can really make an impact. So I think that's the best thing. And if you want, we will be in touch once the group coaching online course and the book are ready. So whatever they want to engage with, they will be available soon anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's going to be important for them to sign up to your newsletter. So when you do announce all of that, they're on that newsletter, getting the information firsthand. So that is fantastic. Thank you so much, Bruna, for being here. I appreciate this time. I really love that you shared this space with me and a lot of little nuggets. I'm going to rewatch this because you dropped so much knowledge. So I appreciate that. I love this kind of conversations. And guys, I want to thank you guys so much for being here and spending time on Straight Talk. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share, because it is important that we try to impact as many people as possible. So thank you guys so much for being here. This is Nina Perez. This is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time.
This broadcast is brought to you by Winject Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.